All right, Sean, we got a trade today, everybody. I'm JC Parets. We're here joined by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Sean McLaughlin. What's up?
What's up, buddy? Good to have you back. We had Straza on last week. I think you were traveling or something, right?
You know, listen, taking care of business, baby. You know me. Yesterday, I was in New York City. I'm all fired up, Sean. I'm fired up. I was in New York City for the NFT conference. I didn't really go to the conference. I was there for like the lunches. I had omakase at this new joint. It was awesome. And then had dinner at Sparks.
You went to a conference, but you didn't actually go to the conference. You just went to eat. That doesn't sound anything like you.
I think the conference was in Times Square. I try not to go to Times Square. But yeah, I wasn't there for the conference. Like, what am I going to do? Go see like a celebrity, like meme guy or something? Like, I don't know. Like, what am I going to do there? So for me, it was more like, I just wanted to talk to smart people, kind of get their opinions on the whole thing, crypto, NFTs, Web 3.0, the whole thing. I mean, we're trading these coins. Late night, I watch conspiracy videos about, the cryptocurrencies that we own, and I learned a thing or two. So after yesterday, my thesis is I don't think we're bullish enough, Sean.
Right. We were talking about that this morning with the whole team, and we were just we're equal parts befuddled by the whole thing and equal parts like, okay, this is exciting. And we're early, man. This is so early. Like, we have no idea where this is going. And then of course that led us down to the conversation about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And then we were like, well, what trade can we put on here? And then that's when our boy Louis piped in. He said, guys, take a look at MicroStrategy. And that's what we started looking at. So let's bring up that chart that we have, this first chart. I mean, MicroStrategy basically these days is trading like the Bitcoin ETF. It's not technically a Bitcoin ETF, but I mean, look at this correlation, JC. It's basically the same thing.
No doubt about it. And its brothers and sisters are behaving well, like things like Hut 8, things like the Mara, right? They're doing really well. So this is no different. The reason we chose this is because those others, if they're even trade options, they're thin. There's plenty of liquidity. This stock's been trading for 20 years. It's obvious that they're doing different things today than they were doing 20 years ago. But there's options, right? There's liquidity.
Yeah, we were kind of joking, like, what does MicroStrategy even do anymore? I mean, their business seems like a sideline. Yeah.
Didn't you watch the video? They're buying the Bitcoin, then you have to borrow money to buy more Bitcoin, and then you have to figure out what you can sell so you can buy more Bitcoin. That is what MicroStrategy does, clearly.
Look, the CEO of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, he's either going to go down as the greatest hero investor of all time or the biggest loser of all time. I mean, there's no either way. There's no middle ground here.
No. There's going to be case studies about this forever, and I look forward to finding out. Listen, it's going to be a fun ride, never a dull day. I think he's going to end up being a hero. Like I said, I'm all bulled up, man. Sean, I'm all bulled up, and I think that we're not. I don't think we're late. I don't think this is late. I get the suspicion, maybe I'm wrong, but I get the suspicion that this isn't late. JC, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to look back at the end of 2021. And we're going to be like, was that the top? Was that it? Was that when the lunacy was hit? No, I think we're going to see much crazier shit.
JC, you're not going to be late until Abuela, your grandma, is saying, JC, how do I open up a cryptocurrency account? Until that happens, we're nowhere near it.
I'm installing a helium mine here at Abuela's house. And she's got questions. She's like, and telling me in Spanish. She's like, don't think that I'm just going to let that thing sit there and I'm not going to ask you questions. She's like, I'm going to find out what it is that this thing is doing. I'm like, all right, come at me, Abuela.
All right. Well, look, all this background, makes for an interesting story, and we laugh about it. We talk about it all the time. It's fun. But at the end of the day, we're just traders, JC. We talk about it all the time. All we care about is price. And let's pull up this chart of just MicroStrategy isolated by itself. And you could look at the long-term chart. I mean, look at that high and tight flag. I mean, I don't know if you want to call that a flag. You're the technician here, but that is
an ascending triangle, I think would be the proper nomenclature.
Sorry, excuse me. I did not get my CMT. My initials are NLD, remember? So anyway, we're loving this pattern. And we think that if Bitcoin, we do think that Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking higher here. And if it does, MicroStrategy is going to come along for a ride. I shared this tweet up here. I'm going to bring up this other chart here, or this other picture. I shared this tweet that our boy Louis tweeted earlier today, mentioning that look, MicroStrategy is probably going to be playing catch up if Bitcoin breaks out. And so combining that with this chart in MicroStrategy, I mean, come on, this looks like a great setup. Is it a guaranteed slam dunk home run? Of course not. I mean, we're going to manage.
Do those exist? Do we get those ever? When do we get one of those?
I like to think that they do, but they don't exist. But we like to think that they do. But there is risk, of course. And you and I joked. I mean, when we were talking about this trade this morning, you're like, let's put on the risky.
Well, you were like, listen, volatility's elevated. So I was like, we could put on a bull call spread. But if we put on a bull call spread, then we're limiting our upside. And isn't that the last thing we want to do in this particular situation? So that was my thought going in. So I was like, let's put on the riskies, take advantage, unlimited upside. So that's what I think. So talk to me.
Fair enough. That's a fair reason to say that. But the flip side is a bullish risk reversal means that we'd be selling a naked put to pay for the long calls. Now, in many circumstances, that's a great trade. But JC, we're talking about Bitcoin here, right? Bitcoin could lose 50% of its value tomorrow. We know that. It's happened before. It could happen again. So that makes me very uncomfortable being short naked puts in anything that's tied to Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency space. So
fair.
I like where your head was at, but not worth the risk in my opinion.
So if this was like a software stock, we're putting on the riskies, even though technically it is a software stock, but not really. Let's say if it was an actual software stock, riskies, but because it's not, no.
Right, because it's not, we need to define our risk. And obviously just buying straight calls here could work, but the premiums are pretty juicy in these things, especially the out of the money. There's a lot of skew here. So the best way that I felt most comfortable putting the trade on is doing a bull call spread, which is where we buy a slightly out of the money call and sell a further out of the money call against it. And my thinking in selecting the expiration and the strikes that I selected had to do with the fact that when we were talking this morning as a team, we kind of agreed that if MicroStrategy is going to make a move, it's going to happen in the next couple of quarters. So let's say 6 months out. So I wanted to look for options that expired 6 months from now. The closest I could get is April. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have May or June options, but right now that's April, and then it goes all the way to January 2023. So we're doing April options, and I chose the 900 calls to purchase while selling the 100 or the 1,000 strike calls against it, because that kind of puts us in the middle of the meat of the move that we think could happen here. We really think that if MicroStrategy gets running, it could go back to, it could test its old-time highs, or at least the highs from earlier this year, which was
February, 1275.
Right. So if we get there, then this bull call spread will capture the meat of the middle. And we're not trying to make every last nickel of this spread. We just want to take profits when we could capture 50% of the maximum available profit. I'm going to pull up the spread of the structure here if you want to pull that chart up. This shows where we have the long calls, where we have the short calls. And you could see that the most we can make in this spread is $76, but we're not going to try to hold on for that. That would require us sitting in this position from now until April expiration. And in the land of crypto, from now until April, I mean, that's decades. That could feel like decades. So
when you adjust for time, right? It's time adjusted.
That's right. So we're going to look to take half of the maximum profit available if we get there. So if this spread, we paid 24 for it. If we get an opportunity to sell it for 60, the most it could be worth is 100. If we get a chance to sell it for 60, we're going to do that, take our profits off the table. In the meantime, where we're managing risk, JC, is look, I don't want to lose 100% of the capital I'm putting up in this trade. It's totally possible, and we have to size our position accordingly. But if MicroStrategy trades below $700 a share, if it closes below $700, that's our line in the sand. That's where we don't want to be long anymore. So I will close the trade down and minimize any further losses from there. That's my plan, JC. What do you think?
Listen, Sean, for me, it's like almost like the devil and the angel, right? The devil's like, put on the risk reversal, put on the risk reversal. And Sean's like, I like to sleep at night, JC. I like a bull call spread. We'll take the middle, right? It's just like, it's fascinating thinking through these options trades with you because, and you know, we joke, I always want to put on a risk reversal because it's turned into like a joke. It's like an internal meme now, but I don't obviously always mean that. But it's interesting. And other trades too, just buying a straight put or whatever it is, you know, depending on the environment and what we're trying to accomplish, whether it's an income generating trade or going long volatility or whatever the case may be, you know, going back and forth with you has taught me a lot. Like I just working with you on a regular basis as I've come so far in the options world. Cause like I look at charts, I'm not the options guy, you are. Right? And then, you know, you're not the chart guy. That's why you come to us, right?
Well, you know, the way we complement each other works out pretty well because you're an excitable guy. You get excited when you see an idea. You want to go for it because you're an optimist, and I love that about you. However, the risk manager on my side says, all right, JC, I like your optimism, but let's be cool here. Let's keep it cool. Let's keep it smart. And, you know, so we balance off each other pretty well like that.
Yeah, I'm fired up. I don't think we're bullish enough, Sean. I don't think we're bullish enough. There's a lot of smart people investing a lot of money and time. You know, man, it's exciting times, man. I'm bullish. I'm bullish humans.
All right, so are we going to go down to that cryptocurrency conference down in Miami and hang out with Michael Saylor and tell him that we're...
Oh, I don't know. I heard that was bananas last year. I don't know if I want to be... let's just go to Miami like a random weekend.
I'm in.
All right. All right, so let's remind everybody what the trade is. We are buying a MSTR MicroStrategies MSTR April 900 1,000 bull call spread. We paid $24. This means we're going to be long the 900 strike calls and short an equal amount of the 1,000 strike calls of April. And I think it's a good idea.
I couldn't have said it any better. Well done, JC. Thanks, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Adios.